Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amata. Today is the 10th of October and I'm here as always to give you a daily dose of today's latest gaming news. This time I'm bringing you something from Square Enix as they have announced its collective program, which is a rather interesting program that will allow game studios to pitch ideas to them via a community-focused vetting process. Now, this particular initiative will allow studios to pitch their ideas to a collective community feedback platform. If community participants in the forum support the idea, it will be crowdfunded via a partnership with Indiegogo, which is of course a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter. And rather significantly, Square Enix has written on its official collective site, which I will link in the description in case you're curious, that studios may have the opportunity, to pitch installments in old IDOS properties. And they will be giving further details on which IPs apply to this at GDC next November. So projects will be vetted directly by Square Enix before they're taken to the collective forum to ensure they fit, quote, submission parameters, which, of course, again, will be detailed in November. Then, if the community responds favourably to a project pitch, Square Enix will then work to ensure the studio is capable of delivering the described product. And once this particular step is complete, the project will then move to Indiegogo, where the future of the game will be basically thrown to the wolves and decided by crowdfunding. Now, what's rather interesting about this is that this particular initiative follows a rather dicey fiscal year for them, as Square Enix did report an annual loss of 13.7 billion yen, that's about 88 million pounds or $135 million, in the year ending May. Now, this is actually down from 3.5 billion yen profit forecast last October and a 6 billion yen profit posted the previous business year. So they've definitely fallen on some rough times. So perhaps they're trying to rejuvenate their sales with some fresh and interesting ideas. And this is definitely a rather cool initiative from Square Enix. I have to say that I rather like this idea. Not only will we see some new and interesting ideas come out, not exactly from Square Enix, but of course they will be associated with the project and will most likely be getting some form of royalties or something from each game sold or what have you. It also gives developers and budding indie developers a chance to get their game out there. And the most interesting part of this is the fact that you can actually pitch installments in old IDOS properties. Now, of course, we don't know which properties. This isn't any and all before you get overly excited. But hopefully the big ones, the ones that people want, will be included in this particular list when they detail these particular IPs at GDC next in November. So, rather interesting to say the least. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. It's a rather interesting idea. Obviously, lots of red tape involved, as you might expect. Essentially, it goes through a fair few steps before it ever sees the light of day on Indiegogo. But to be honest, I think it's perfectly understandable that they have to carefully vet each game, not only with whether or not it meets their requirements and rules, but but also with whether people like it, and then whether or not the people who pitch the idea can actually afford to make it, even with the crowdfunding, and even if they have the skills to make it, because of course they don't want it go up on Indiegogo generating loads of money for a game that's never actually going to be made. That would not be good for anyone. So I think it's more than understandable that Square do not want to go down that road, and they put lots of clearly cut steps to say that, hey look, this is a fairly careful vetting process to make sure that you, the consumer who is going to be giving your money to these crowdfunding projects, are not going to be burned by something that's never going to be made because these people lack the skill/time or whatever. So a very, very interesting idea. I will of course be keeping my eyes peeled around GDC next in November to see what IPs we can actually pitch from the IDOS properties. Now, I'm sure that most people would absolutely love to see a new Legacy of Kain, but we don't know whether or not that's going to be included. I certainly hope so, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, that is me done for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.